Every year we tend to speculate, what is the real estate market going to do? Some people out there will be fearmongers and say the market's going to crash tomorrow, everybody's going to lose their butt. Other people are going to say, hey, you know what, everything's hunky-dory and we're going to keep riding this roller coaster up on home appreciation, all is well. Somewhere in between the two sides, though, is the truth. So in today's episode, we're going to cover 7 core topics for you to know what to expect from the housing market in 2020. My name is Andrew Finney, and my passion is to help you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. All right, my friend, let's take a closer look at what we can likely expect from the housing market in 2020. I've broken this video down into 7 core topics, and we're going to follow a what is it, what it means to you, and what you can expect moving forward format. The 7 topics that we will review are: 1. The mortgage interest rates. 2. Supply and demand, existing homes and new home construction. 3. Home affordability equals migration patterns. 4. Generational shifts, being the silver tsunami versus millennials. 5. The home appreciation forecast. 6. State of the housing market with looming recession fears versus the health of the housing market. And 7th, final thoughts. As a reminder, as we proceed, we're going to follow the what is it, what it means to you, and what you can expect moving forward format. The first thing to keep perspective on are the mortgage interest rates. We are presently at 3-year lows in the mortgage interest rate world. This is actually a really good thing for buyers in the housing market. In fact, according to Freddie Mac, which is the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, we can expect to see the mortgage interest prime rate between 3.8% to 4.1% throughout 2020. If you want to follow along with that, all these links are going to be down below, but in specific about Freddie Mac, its link is underneath here, and you can track what the prime rate is doing. That being said, please note that individual results will vary when getting your home loan options reviewed with a mortgage officer. What's the best way for you to know what your mortgage option is going to look like? Simply pick up the phone, call a mortgage loan officer, and review your home loan needs with them to see what kind of loan programs are available to you. So what does this mean to you? If you're a home buyer shopping in the 2020 market, the good news is that you will have low mortgage interest rates and a whole lot of different home loan options available to you, increasing the likelihood that you could find a home of your own in 2020. We all know that rents are rising along with home appreciation, so we have a choice to make as people. We can either choose to rent that roof or we can choose to own that roof. It's your decision. Make sure that you get the facts, assess your situation, and ultimately know the best time to buy or sell a home is when the time is right in your life. So what can you expect from the mortgage interest rates in 2020? Well, as we identify, the mortgage interest rates are at 3-year lows, and they're going to continue to be very low throughout 2020 according to Freddie Mac. What this will mean is that especially on the first side of the year, being the first and second quarters, we're likely to see a return to some bidding wars in the hottest and more affordable markets across the United States. So if you're home buying this year and you plan on buying in the first or second quarter, keep your wits about you, stay focused, stay sharp, and make sure that you're finding the right place for you to call home. As a pro tip, before viewing any homes, please make sure that you get with a mortgage loan officer to review your income, assets, credit, and employment situation. In other words, to get a home loan pre-approval letter so that when you go out there home shopping with your trusted real estate advisor, you have all your ducks in a row and ready to go. Speaking of trusted real estate advisors, please make sure that you're Googling the agent that you choose to work with. Google their online ratings, their reviews, and their past sales performance to make sure that you have the right agent for you, helping you with what is most of our largest purchase in life. And if you're a home seller getting ready to sell your home in 2020 in between the 1st to 5th months, or essentially the 1st and 2nd quarter of the year, what you want to be prepared for is the reality that you're likely to have a lot of showings and you may be able to get a bidding war on your property. That being said, it's also important to take stock of today's home buyers. Today's home buyers are very tech savvy and very, very smart people that are out there shopping for homes. What this means to you is that most of them prefer to find a move-in, turnkey ready home that they can essentially move from wherever they are now into the place they're going to call home, which is your place. So what you want to do is follow the 3 Ds, which is to declutter, depersonalize, and deep clean your house before going on the market. Have a game plan in place, because even in the hottest of a seller's market or the hottest of any market type, whenever homes are just going on the market and coming back off, homes will statistically not sell that aren't ready for the market in the correct way by following the 3 Ds, having that professional photography. So what can you do you to prime yourself for success? It's very simple. Pick up the phone, talk to your trusted real estate advisor, establish a game plan before going on the market to put your home in its best light possible so that you can minimize your pain and maximize your profit in 2020. The second thing to know is what's happening with the supply and demand of homes across the United States. When we consider all of the home sales in 2019, they amounted to roughly 6 million homes sold, which translates into 16,438 homes were sold on a daily basis on average. This is according to the National Association of Realtors and also Fred economic data. While these numbers sound very high, and they are, the important thing to realize here is that's actually a 1.7% decrease year-over-year sales from 2018 to 2019. Now, going into 2020, we'll see how many existing homes come on the market and exactly what new home builders are going to be doing as far as ramping up and building more inventory. We'll get to more of that in a moment. According to Fred Economic Data's December 2019 forecast for what's happening in 2020, they shared with us that they believe there will be roughly 6,200,000 homes sold over the course of 2020, which translates to roughly 16,986 homes selling each and every day on an average basis. Meanwhile, on the demand side, home buyer demand is extremely high. With the rising home appreciation prices out there, coupled with the low mortgage interest rates, home buyers find themselves in a paradox. If they're renting, they're also finding themselves in a place where they see escalating rents continue to increase every year. So a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what? If I'm going to keep flushing my money away every month and I'm going to have to pay more and more, maybe it's a better idea if I get into home ownership, even if I have to pay $200 to $300 more a month for my monthly mortgage. After all, the rent's increasing too. So one way you get to own your roof, another way you get to rent your roof. The only way that you can see your money again, obviously, is if you buy your house and you own it outright. That being said, it is important to take stock of that demand side feature. Even though Fred economic data suggests that we may see 6,200,000 homes come on the market and sell this year, which means that as a home buyer, you may have more opportunity to find different homes out there. But with those low mortgage interest rates, the balance here on the demand side is going to be a lot of other fellow home buyers are going to be getting into the market. The largest category of home buyers in 2019 probably comes as no surprise. It was your millennials, comprising 37% of all home purchases throughout the United States in 2019. According to the economic forecast performed by Realtor.com, they believe that in 2020, we could see as many as 50% of all home purchases nationwide being attributed to the millennials getting into home ownership. To assist in both the supply and the demand side of this, new construction is coming into the fold. New construction has been very cautious in the amount of homes they build since the 2008 collapse. Now, that's prudent on their side, but at the same time, that leaves so many buyers without a place to call home. Yet so many of the new homes that are being built are out of reach as far as the price is concerned for most home buyers in the marketplace. According to Capital Economics, we should be able to see an increase in starter homes. And what they defined a starter home to be was any home valued under $300,000. And they believe that it'll be upticking from 50% in 2019 to 55% in 2020. So there's a 5% gain of what we should be able to see from the new home builders going into 2020. Everything comes with a balance, and according to Zillow.com, they found that the size of new homes are actually decreasing in their overall size in square feet from 2015 to 2019. They expect that trend to continue. So if you're in the market for a new home construction, just know that you may see some smaller models out there as opposed to what you may have seen in 2019 or years past. So what does this mean to you? If you're a home buyer in the market looking to purchase a home in 2020, there's going to be an uptick of existing homes or resale homes, if you will, and also new construction. You'll have a few more options to choose from than you did in 2019. At the same time, you're going to be facing down increased competition by your peers and by other home buyers in the market. It's also important to note that Generation Z is right on your heels. If you're a millennial, they're right on your heels, with the eldest part of Generation Z turning 24 years old in 2020. I've seen a lot of home buyers here in Las Vegas, Nevada in practice that are actually 23 and 24 years old, which shows us that the demand is very high amongst Generation Z as well. So if you're in home shopping mode, stay sharp, stay focused, have all your ducks in a row ready to go. Have your game plan out and know why buying a home is important to you. To help you keep your cool, ask yourself the following questions. The first one is, how long do you plan to live in your new home? The second one is, what does owning a home mean to you? The third question to ask yourself is, how would buying a home impact your lifestyle and your life goals that you've set out for yourself? And the fourth thing is just a simple thought here. At the end of the day, the best time to buy your new home is when it makes sense to you and your life for the reasons that are important to you. Keeping this in perspective will help you maintain your cool, help you hashtag JTAB, which is just take a breath, so that you can reassess, make a plan moving forward that's right for you. If you're a home seller, what this means to you is that you'll likely see a return to those bidding wars at least for the first half of 2020. So if you're planning on getting your home on the market in 2020, it is probably highly advantageous to do it sooner rather than later. So what can you expect from the housing market in 2020 as it pertains to supply and demand? Well, with those low mortgage interest rates, what we're going to see are those bidding wars again. I want you to be prepared for that and take it to heart. We want to make sure that you have everything ready to go before you go out home shopping. Having your ducks in a row and ready to go has never been more important than it is right now. Make sure you take stock of your situation, be clear-minded, stay focused, stay sharp, and you'll be well prepared to make a well-informed decision that's right for you. It's also worth noting that we've been talking about a lot of the bidding wars probably taking place in the first and second quarter of the year. So if you're planning on buying a home, if you can hold off to the third and fourth quarters, it might be advantageous to you. Again, ultimately, the best way to check yourself here is to know why you're buying a home, why it's important to you, and to do so at a time and pace that's comfortable to you. According to the National Association of Realtors, we're likely to see the home builder starts increase by 11.5% in 2020. That's higher than it was in 2019. What this means is that we will be seeing more new home inventory become available. Keep an eye out for it. If you want to track housing starts, please visit Fred Economic Data. The link is down below to that exact landing page so that you can track how many new home starts there are being reported to Fred Economic Data. The third thing to watch is housing affordability and the migration patterns. With rising rents and rising home appreciation, it's forcing a lot of people away from the areas that they've called home for a while, and now they're seeking out more affordable housing. It's not that the market's going to collapse tomorrow, because it's realistically not. The major crisis that we're facing in the United States right now is a housing shortage crisis. It's the crisis of not enough homes for the people that wish to buy them. That is the housing crisis in 2020. Not enough homes for the buyers. As a result, we'll see more buyers leaving the bigger cities and moving into the suburbs and moving into other cities that might be nearby a larger city, or perhaps even just out of state, period, in the pursuit of affordable housing. So what does this mean exactly? If you're in a bigger city right now, you're probably noticing a lot of the people that you live next to are moving out of state or moving out into the suburbs. Why is that? They're seeking cheaper rent, or they're seeking more affordable housing so that they can purchase a place of their own. One city's loss is another city's economic boon in 2020. So what can we expect from the housing affordability and migration patterns in 2020? Well, as we mentioned earlier on, 37% of all home buyers in 2019 were millennials. It's expected, according to Realtor.com, that as many as 50% of all home purchases in 2020 will be by millennials. We're seeing more and more migration patterns by the millennials into the suburbs, into areas further away from a bigger city, but still close enough that they could commute to if they wish to do so. The reason many of them are making the decision to uproot their lives and go somewhere new is for financial stability through home ownership, job and economic opportunity in a new location, and also some more work-life balance so that they have economic prosperity. And they should have. We all should have economic prosperity by working hard and doing what's right for ourselves in our life and in our career. What gets really interesting about this is that developers and researchers are actually coining this term as hipsterbia. Perhaps one of the best definitions of hipsterbia comes from the Emerging Trends in Real Estate 2020 report conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers and the Urban Land Institute, which suggests that hipsterbia can be described as a mixed-use, walkable suburban development designed to attract millennials that are settling down, having kids, and looking for cheaper houses, good schools, entertainment, and a convenient live, work, play environment. That's according to Axios, and also that Emerging Trends in Real Estate 2020 report conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers and the Urban Land Institute. Both of the links are in the show more description below if you want to check them out. And if you want to try the map out where housing might be more affordable for you, courtesy of the Joint Center for Housing Studies by Harvard University, there's actually a housing affordability map. It's underneath this point in the show more description below if you want to check it out and kind of pan the United States to find the right place to call home. Now that brings us around to generational shifts between the Silver Tsunami and the Millennials. Two of the biggest generations in the United States right now are the baby boomers, which is being called call the silver tsunami, and also the millennials. And what we're actually seeing in 2020 is that we're in the wake of the silver tsunami as the storm surge reaches the shorelines of real estate. The silver tsunami is a metaphor for the roughly 76 million Americans that belong to the baby boomer generation. It's estimated that as much as 21 million homes are owned by the baby boomer generation, and that we're going to see a lot of those homes being listed for sale in between 2017 and 2037. In fact, just between 2017 and 2027, it's expected that 9 million of the baby boomer generation will list their home for sale. And all 21 million homes owned by the baby boomer generation are expected to be listed for sale by year 2037. So we'll see an uptick in existing home sales courtesy of the baby boomer generation looking to move on to greener pastures, as you as a millennial or you as a home buyer are looking for your first home, second home, just essentially that place that you want to call home. We know that more and more millennials are getting into the real estate market. They're seeking out home ownership. They're progressing in life. They're progressing in their careers. And we know that we're probably going to see roughly 50% of all home purchases being completed by millennials in 2020. So what that means to you in 2020 is that more and more millennials are going to be in the market before they get priced out of the market. Fortunately, mortgage interest rates are extremely low, and according to Freddie Mac, they're supposed to maintain a lower level in between 3.8% to 4.1% on the prime rate. Of course, individual results will vary based upon your economic and financial situation and your own unique circumstances. Just simply call a mortgage loan officer to review your home loan options with you. That being said, the issue that many of the home buyers in the 2020 market are facing aren't the lack of home loan options and the low interest rate, it's the lack of home inventory. That is the housing crisis that we're in right now, and that is the challenge for a lot of would-be home buyers, is finding that right place to call home. Which brings us around that if you're a home buyer in the 2020 market, especially if it's your first home, you might need to get real with the fact that it may not be your dream home, your forever home. In fact, most Americans will move 3 to 5 times over the course of their lifetime in purchasing real estate. So just get your foot into home ownership, buy a place so that you can begin paying down that mortgage, creating equity in yourself over time. And then whenever 5 to 7, maybe 10 years pass in your new home, you'll have that equity to take with you so that you can move forward in life and purchase that home that could potentially be your forever home. We'll also see progressively more baby boomers listing their homes for sale in between 2020 and 2037. With that said, we can expect to see those homes coming on the market. Now the question remains, what are the baby boomers going to need to do to those homes to make them appeal to the millennials and other home buyers in the market? So what can you expect from this generational shift in 2020? We can expect to see economies flourish in 2020 as more millennials rush into the hipsterbia movement. If you want to check out the National Association of Realtors top 10 list of the hottest metros for the upcoming 3 to 5 years, the link's down below so that you can check it out and make your move into your hipsterbia environment. That takes us to home appreciation. It's all about the balance. So what is it exactly? In 2019, CoreLogic reported that the national average for home appreciation throughout the country was roughly 3.5%. Now, what does that mean for the 2020 housing market if we have this tight inventory on the first half of the year coming up and maybe more homes coming on the market in the third and fourth quarter exactly? It's a great question. So let's take a look at what that means to you. In the first and second quarter of 2020, Redfin's chief economist, Daryl Fairweather, anticipates that we could see a rapid acceleration in home appreciation for the first half of the year, all the way up to 6% as an average across the United States, then tapering off in the third and fourth quarters to end 2020 around a 3% of home appreciation rate for the year. Meanwhile, Zillow predicts that we'll see roughly 2.8% home appreciation through the course of 2020. Remember, every coin has two sides. In this case, Realtor.com's senior economist George Rachow says that he believes that the home appreciation rate for the United States will only come in at 0.8% as a national average by the end of 2020. Now compare that to CoreLogic's home performance indicator forecast, where they believe that it's going to come in at 5.4% annual home appreciation by the end of 2020. So with all those numbers out there, what can you expect from home appreciation in 2020? Being that everything is about balance, we want to take each one of those predictions by Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, and CoreLogic and weight them evenly. So what I did is I went ahead and added up the numbers, divided them out, and came up with the the average number between the four sources and found that that number resulted in an average of 2.82% home appreciation throughout 2020. To add a little extra fun into this, the 100-year historic rate of home appreciation in the United States is generally right around 3%. So if we end 2020 at 2.82%, we'll be very close to that 3% historic increase. So what does that mean to you, and why should you care about that, right? That means that the housing market is stable and it looks like it's going to continue its pattern of stability. This is great news and a great sign for the market moving into and throughout 2020, setting us up for 2021. So let's get into the overall state of the housing market, especially with those looming recession fears versus the housing market health. It's highly debatable that we'll see a recession in 2020. What we're more likely to see are specific market industries and sectors experiencing a balancing act. To give you, for instance here, from December 2018 through December of 2019, the real estate market at large was in a stabilization pattern. That's probably why you noticed homes that were taking longer to sell and more price reductions going on in the real estate market. It wasn't a sign of pending doom, it was a balancing act for the home appreciation, being that it's escalated so rapidly over the past few years. We had to stabilize. We're at a price ceiling and the market has to balance out. So that's what we saw. Well, we're going to see similar things in other market segments and industries as well. So while it's not like a full-on recession, there will be this delicate balance of economic health that we need for stability purposes affecting different industries and segments over 2020. It's also worth noting here that with home appreciation across the United States expected to rise by 2.82% by the end of 2020, what we can expect to see, especially from those hottest metros in the National Association of Realtors report and in areas that are considered to be more affordable, is a rapid acceleration of home appreciation that is going to outpace the national average of 2.82%. We'll see where that ends up, but in some cases that could be as high as 10% or even higher, depending on where you're looking to move. So what does this mean to you? Even with the looming recession fears, now knowing that it's really going to balance off certain market segments and industries, the housing market's going to be left intact because we already did a balancing act last year from December 2018 to December 2019. And this is also courtesy of the Dodd-Frank Act, which was passed after the 2008 collapse to further regulate the mortgage and real estate industries and to provide more protective measures for the consumer. It was a very good thing. And because of that, and because of those tightened restrictions and the tightened lending requirements, that's why we're going to be able to ride this out in the housing market while everybody else is doing their balance. The real estate market will continue to do its balance too. But as far as the recession is concerned, it's going to be stayed off out of the real estate market, and the real estate market's not going to be impacted by it as much as other industries and market sectors might be. It's worth noting that as far as a key indicator of the overall health of the housing market is concerned, one of those key indicators are mortgage delinquency rates. We are at an all-time low according to CoreLogic in mortgage delinquency rates. This is a good thing. Part of that ramp up going into the 2008 collapse was an increase of the notice of default, or essentially the mortgage delinquency rates. So when we see a declining amount, and in fact an all-time low, then that shows the stability in the housing market. That link is in the show more description below if you want to check it out for yourself. We can expect to see the inventory of existing homes gradually rise over the course of 2020 to balance off in the third and fourth quarters and come in line, hopefully, with the housing demand, and also new construction picking up their overall starts by a factor of 11.5% for 2020. This is a really good setup going into 2021. It's looking good there whenever we start visualizing what's going to take place throughout 2020 and going into a 2021 marketplace. There's good signs in the housing market, and again, if it's the right time for you to make a move, whether you're selling or buying, just ask yourself why you're moving, why it's important to you, how long you plan to live there, and make sure that you're doing all your due diligence and research to make a well-informed decision that's right for you, because the time is right for you in your life. So what can you expect to see unfold over 2020 in the housing market and the U.S. economy in different areas? Beginning, the main factors leading to a potential recession would be a U.S.-China trade war continuation and no resolution being made. The 2020 presidential election itself will be hotly contended and watched. Geopolitical unrest across the United States could have an impact on the U.S. economy and the housing market. Rising student loan debts are a prevalent concern. The increasing consumer credit card default rates rates are on the rise, and the rapid price growth for the cost of household goods, including groceries, gas and utility bills, etc., are some of the main indicators. If you want to see a full list and track all the economic indicators, you can do so at BIA.gov. The link is down below. For reference, BIA means the Bureau of Economic Analysis for the United States. Tracking what they're reporting will give you great insight into what's happening in the U.S. economy at large. Lastly, it's unlikely that we'll see a full-on U.S. economic recession in 2020. We're more likely to see that balancing act in the different market sectors and the different industries at large. Keep an eye on that and make sure that you're watching. All right, so that leaves us with the final thoughts. I have 5 of them that I would like to share with you. One is to always keep perspective on the facts. Keeping perspective on the facts, doing your homework, doing your research will help set you up for making a well-informed decision that's right for you, not only as it pertains to real estate, but along your entire life journey. Please maintain your perspective and you'll find that you can keep your cool and make a smart decision that's right for you. The second is to please beware of anybody that's out there fear-mongering and preying on the fears of people, whether they be about real estate, whether they be about the economy, whether they be about anything for that matter. Those people that seek to incite fear opposed to love and hope are those people that are looking to gain a buck from your back, out of your emotion, out of your fear. Don't give them the win. Take the win for yourself by maintaining clarity, by maintaining your perspective, and taking everything with a grain of salt that you hear. Do your homework. Do your due diligence, do your research, so that when you make a decision, you're making that decision for the reasons that are important to you. If you're doing that, then you have done the right thing for yourself. Don't believe the fearmongers, no matter how salacious it may sound, whether it's on the cable news networks, or whether it's on a streaming device, or whether it's in a blog post, or what have you. Believe the facts. The facts don't lie. Believe in yourself, because you can and you will do this. The third is that all the links mentioned, all the research that I did to create this video for you is in the show more description below, at least weighs as much as YouTube allowed me to put in there. They do have a 5,000 character limit, and I did fill up about 3 pages of just sourced links for all the information that I read to come up and create this video for you. I'll fit as many of them as possible in the show more description. Please remember that we are all stronger and better together than we are not. Let's be kind, let's be positive, and treat everybody with respect and dignity. If we but smiled at somebody that we saw every single day and focused on random acts of kindness and good deeds every day, then you, me, and everybody else out there can make the world a better place. At the end of the day, we're in this place called the world, called our earth, our home, together. It's going to be what we make it. So why not make it a positive place to be? We can do that with a simple smile, a simple act of random kindness, and good deeds done every day. Seek out ways that you can be helpful to other people, and you'll find that they seek out ways they can be helpful to you. By being kind to others and helping them live their best life, in the process, we'll also be living our best life at the same time. Lastly, I'm wishing you and yours an amazingly prosperous and productive 2020 full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. Create an amazing year for yourself and let it be the best one to date. All right, my friends, so now let's take a closer look at the 11 biggest first-time homebuyer mistakes and how to avoid them, and the 11 challenges when selling your house. Looking forward to our next conversation. We'll see you in a few.